Welcome back to the AgriSpec Tom channel. Can you take a guess where I am today? Now, some of you might now be asking, Tom, you're a crop guy. What on earth are you doing at a dairy event? Well, a lot of our crops go in to feed livestock. So it makes sense for me to be here because things like maize, for instance, are a massive part of a dairy cow's diet. So I'm here to represent KWS at this event. Now, in typical me fashion, I completely forgot to print off my ticket, so I'm going to have to wait in a line. Right, the voice starts getting busy because I arrived here very early. Let's have a little look around. One thing that I must remember to do, because I guarantee I will forget, is to collect basis points on the basis knowledge trail, because I can't let my qualification slip. I don't mind me, I'm just going to make myself comfortable in the competitions tent. Nice. Well, LG, you guys owe me a cap. Oh, and don't forget, if you were at Dairy Tech today, don't forget to buy your finest KWS maize. Now, this is really properly cool. And this is what we're going to see more and more out on farm, these kind of micro digesters, which take up things like slurry and waste products and convert them into energy for the farms. And that sort of technology is a really good way of looking at improving efficiency on farm, reducing energy costs, which on things like dairies are a massive problem. You'll probably find that technology is going to get funded quite a bit as well, at least partially funded, because it's a really good way of using up waste products on farm, making things more efficient, and also improving the environment from an air quality perspective by using up excess slurry, which might not be able to get onto ground at certain times of the year. So, for example, during closed periods where you can't spread slurry, so over sort of winter period, for example. So that kind of technology is really cool. Now, I'm no dairy kit expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I see a massive design flaw here. That's a big old hole there, Barry. Finally, some kit at the dairy show that I'm actually very familiar with, and that is slurry spreading gear. And this is a trailing shoe spreader. So, how it works is the slurry comes down these pipes, and this would be placed on the back of a tanker, and the tanker would hook up just there, and then it's fed down through these pipes, down into the pipes which connect to this, which is a trailing shoe. Now what happens is this scoots along the ground and dribbles slurry out onto the ground. So this is getting maximum slurry to soil surface contact, which is really, really good for reducing ammonia emissions and putting nutrition where it needs to be on the soil. There are different designs, so this is a trailing shoe, so it is just this shoe that's coming down. The other designs would be injection, for example, where there'd be a disc in front of the shoe, and the disc would cut a slot in the soil, and the trailing shoe behind it would then dribble the slurry down into the slot, so the nutrition, or the slurry, is at the root zone, which is where it needs to be. So these are all designed to improve slurry use efficiency, improve crop management, also reduce ammonia emissions. And this kind of kit is going to become more and more commonplace as we move towards a future where we're looking at reducing ammonia emissions, which, as we've said previously on my channel, are not a greenhouse gas, but they do cause respiratory conditions, and this is a big issue. So reducing ammonia is something that DEFRA are very, very keen on doing. But also, this is very good for improving crop management, because loss of ammonia is loss of crop nutrition. So improving how we manage slurry, getting it onto your crops in the best way possible and making the most out of your nutrition is going to be incredibly important for maximising your inputs to get the most from your outputs. And this kind of technology is going to get funding from the government. It historically has through capital grants, and the thing is, it's going to be more and more commonplace as we move away from splash plate design slurry spreaders, because splash plate design slurry spreaders emit more ammonia into the atmosphere. They're not as good at putting crop nutrition onto the ground where it should be and getting the most out of that nutrition. So these kind of pieces of technology are going to become more and more commonplace. For those that don't know what splash plate designs are, I'll put them up here. that is technology which has been used traditionally for a long, long time, and these more precision application pieces of technology which apply slurry directly to the soil or into soil are now becoming more and more commonplace and needed. The political segment has just finished down here at Dairy Tech, and there were some interesting topics discussed, like overseas trade. A question was posed as to what tariffs that the US government are putting on European trade are going to have on the dairy industry. At the moment, not an awful lot is known, so there wasn't an awful lot of retort that came back to that, and there was no certainty over how the dairy industry is going to be protected in light of those sort of tariffs. Another question was posed around IHT. Of course, there was a question posed around IHT, of which there's still rallies that are going on. The NFU is still trying to get a meeting with the Treasury, but also by the time this video goes out, there will be a letter which is put through to national press from the NFU with the support of £7 billion worth of producers within the agricultural industry. So these will be supermarkets and those sort of things, who have written in support of the retraction of IHT from the UK policy. There was also a little bit of a talk around dairy prices and how the NFU, AHDB and RAGP are going to support the industry and help ensure that dairy prices don't go one way, and that's in line with the needs to match cost of production and produce a profitable industry. And there was a lot of discussion around how they're going to support the industry, but it's a lot we've kind of heard before, so let's just see if there's going to be any big meaningful changes. I hope there is, because every agricultural sector needs it right now. What's abundantly clear, and it was something that I was aware of already, but it's something that's become more apparent today, is that there is a fundamental disconnect between dairy knowledge in terms of cows and dairy knowledge in terms of crops which are used to feed cows, and there isn't a lot of transition with those two primary areas. And given the fact that the crops that are going in and being used to feed cows are fundamentally important to the output you get from the cows, there is a lot of knowledge which needs to be upskilled within the industry, I think, in order to make that more beneficial for the industry and improve efficiencies and upskill a lot of these dairy farmers to ensure that their crop knowledge is as good as their dairy knowledge, or have consultants who are working in the dairy industry who are really, really clued up on the crops which are being used to feed those cows. Because I really do believe that when you get those two right, you can really see a lot of benefits from your milk output and from your feeding efficiency. And that's something that I really do think the industry needs to work on. And that's Dairy Tech done for the year, and I think I'll come back next year. It's been a fantastic show and learned a lot, spoken to some new people as well as people I already know and work with or have worked with. Ran into my old boss earlier, which was nice. And to be fair, it's a really good time for community to come together, and there have been some interesting talks today. Some I'm a little bit critical of, not going to lie, especially the political ones, because I think that really we need to be more forward as an industry and community focused, which I don't think really kind of came out with any of those talks. So there needs to be a little bit of rethinking at the top to the way down, I think. But overall, really positive day, and I will definitely be coming back again next year.